this is a gist of what I wanted to talk about today. That there was life before the interruption. We've got our own birth rights. We know how our women should give birth. We know that it needs no ambulance. We know that it needs no hospital. When I grew up, all the children of my cousins who gave birth in the same Rondaville where we were. We would be chased out, and they would give birth. They were, each and every village still has its midwives, people who are known, old women who are known of their prowess in birth giving. The way and the position that birth is happening in a hospital is wrong. It's not for Africans. And the fact that children die and women die because the ambulance could not reach that village is a problem for me, because there's supposed to be midwives there. We should not depend on these things that we can't reach, because these people promise us that, no, this is a better life, we'll give you an ambulance. And when the time comes from the ambulance does not happen. It's the same as our health system. Our health system is decentralized. We don't can people and congregate people in a thing called hospital, but we always healed our people. Without that, we as Africans think it is a little bit mad to collect people and so that they can share their diseases in a thing called hospital. But it is not for Africans to can anything. So if you in Europe, they've got a can for everything. There is a place for criminals, it's called a jail. We had our own justice system. It did not have a jail. It had rehabilitation. We had our own, as I said, our own health system. We also had our own education system, which did not have a house called school. Because a house will have people in and people out. Our education happens in the economy itself. So we also don't have lunatic asylums. If there's a person who is not okay in the mind in a village, we know how to manage that person within the village without collecting all mad people into an asylum. It doesn't make sense. Same as our worship. We don't worship in a house called church. We don't can things. Our worship was within nature. We worship with the skies, we worship with the mountains, we worship with what God gave us, not a house. Because in a house, somebody's going to be in, somebody's going to be out. You must join a church for you to be able to worship. That is un-African. Let's come to death rights. The funerals that you see now, none of them are African. Those funerals are either Christian or whatever, but nobody's buried like an African. Can't we go back there? If we go back there, we'll save a lot of money. We don't need all these funeral insurance monies that we pay each and every month. We don't need after tears. We don't need expensive clothes for going to a funeral. It's actually, in our belief, you are sharing the death. You are causing more death upon more death, because there's no mourning in these things. They look like shibins when they're supposed to be a funeral. I will tell you one day the whole death rights, how to mourn, how to respect the moment, and how less expensive it is, or non-expensive at all. It is if you can declare. But now we're living with bylaws that says you must have a coffin. Nobody should go to the grave without a coffin. Who created that? Food production. I wrote one day that no one should, when you ask a person, why are you hungry? They say, I don't have money. This is a problem, because this person should not say, I don't have money, because it is not money that you eat, it's food. Now, food production has been commercialized and monopolized by two companies in South Africa. Now, whatever piece of land you have, at least you can produce your own spinach. At least you can produce your own carrot. You can't tell me that you are hungry because you don't have money. Why are we monetarizing food? Why are we monetarizing basic amenities? The monetary system is serving the people who brought it here. Let's try as much as possible to get out of it, including getting our electricity in a natural way, getting water in a natural way. Why it is monetarized to make us poor? The economy. Our economy depended on the land. We had our own economy, and our education was going with our economy. So boys will be taught how to take care of calves and how to take care of goat kids as we did, how to take care of the garden. And they will grow. As they grow, they go to grown-up cattle. They grow into producing grain. They grow into the economy. Now, the teaching was in the economy. You don't get a degree that is useless to the economy. So we used to be taught to be useful in the economy. Everybody had their place. Girls had their place. Young women have their place. Married women, they had their place. Men had their place. Young men had their place. Everybody had a place in the economy. Nobody was monopolizing the economy. And we did not have bread that is baked in Salt River at a place called such and such bakery, and then that place bakes the bread and then gets it into a truck so that it comes to Bishop. Why can't Bishop produce its own bread so that we're not affected by the increase in the petrol price? Because bread is tied to the to the petrol price because it has to be moved. Why can't we bake Bishop bread in Bishop? In that there's no one who needs the price of bread. The farmer gets 5 rand out of the price of bread. The price of bread now is 16 rand. The farmer, for the gist of what is the bread, the wheat and everything else, the farmer gets 5 rand. The rest is money that it catches as it comes to you, including the packaging. I spoke about education. I cry my heart out that in this country we've tried 6 or 7 systems of education. None works. What we haven't tried is the African system of education. We're taught memorization. We're also taught to have a degree or a certificate with so many unrelated topics that we are sitting now with 80% unemployable graduates. Health, I've explained that. We can go back. The problem with the health is that people die a dishonorable death, trying to depend or to believe in a system that was not designed for them. The health in South Africa depends on a medical aid or medical insurance. If you don't have it, you can't get to a private hospital. If you can't get to a private hospital, you will die at the door of a public hospital because there are no services. So it breaks my heart. But we used to heal ourselves. We've got our own healers who were sent to us by God and by the ancestors. They know how to heal us with herbs. These herbs, let's take Benylin, for example. Benylin is a cough mixture that you get from the chemist. It's got umhlonyane in it, which is the herb that deals with the cough. Now, if you take the herb direct, boil it, eat, and then drink its gravy, you are done, and you don't need to preserve it because you drink once or twice. If it's still there, you haul it out, or you go and get some more from the tree. Benylin has umhlonyane, preservatives, alcohol, all these things, but Benylin is doing better than umhlonyane in the marketplace because we look down upon our own health. What we think is packaged properly is actually killing us. Worship. This is a big problem. It's a very big problem. Our God has been called barbaric, backward, useless, and non-existent. We were told that the best way to be a Christian, you must first convert into being an Englishman. You can't be baptized with your name. You must be given an English name. You can't be baptized wearing a kaross or a sheep hide. You must be wearing a trouser and a shirt and a jacket that comes from a shop owned by a European for you to be baptized. And then the Europeans will clean you up for their God, and then they will present you to their God so that you convert to their God. So you convert twice if you're an African. You are not allowed to be an African Christian. Everybody else is allowed. You can be an English Christian, you can be a Chinese Christian, you can be an Indian Christian, but you can't be an African Christian. When you are a Christian, you must clean you out of your Africanness. Therefore, when you go to church, you must stand still, take that hymn book, sing, standing straight, just like a European. We can't stand straight when we are singing. We are singing and dancing at the same time. We are spiritual people by nature. We don't have to join a spiritual organization to be spiritual. That's a long debate in South Africa. Let's leave it there. Governance. We used to have our own governance system via the tradition, what is called now traditional leadership. It had its own system and it worked like a bomb. Now we're in a system called democracy, which we don't understand. It does not benefit us. It benefits what we call the ruling class. The ruling class is the capitalists and their politicians and their everything. Now, the ruling class, for you to join the ruling class as a ruling party, it is the capitalists that will have to pay for your campaign, because these campaigns are very expensive. They will pay for your campaign, and then you will be indebted to them when you are in government, so that you keep things as they are. That's why Africa is not going anywhere.